Hi knitters, welcome to episode 160 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm your host, Devin Ventry. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. I linked all that stuff down below. If you're new, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Welcome. How are you doing this New Year's Eve day? I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. I'm not a New Year's Eve person. We have a party to go to tonight. I will probably be home by 9. I like to go to bed early and get up early and feel good. So that's what I will likely do tonight. Maybe you're not like that. Maybe you're one of the people who likes to watch the ball drop. Yeah. I did New Year's Eve in Times Square in 1999 when I was in college, and that was enough for me. That was definitely plenty. All done. I've had a very, very restful Christmas break. I really needed it. It was great. We did a lot of sitting on the couch. I knit. I turned my brain off of knitting for a little while, and then when I turned it back on, it was like it reset. And that was great. I love that. I love that when you take a break and you come back and it's like flowers blooming. It was wonderful. You might notice that my background is somewhat different. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I really want to blur. Does it look like this plant is growing out of my head? Maybe I should move it. I don't know. There it is. So I changed the mirror, and I got this mirror at Hobby Lobby. In case you think it is the most beautiful mirror in the entire world like I do, that's where I got it, for 50% off, of course. I really want to blur the background. I don't know how to do that. If anybody knows, let me know. There's software you can do it, but anyway, this is a knitting podcast, not a blurring podcast. So I'll talk about my sweater instead. You might say, geez, Devin, I haven't seen that sweater in a long time. Look at all this space. So this is my original faux set that I knit with Dream in Color Classy, I believe, which is a DK. And I'm wearing it with a skirt that I made. What pattern is this? I forget what this is. But I made this skirt, maybe to go with the sweater. It was a couple years ago. And it's nice because you can kind of pull it up as high as you want if you don't want to show skin with this cropped sweater. I like to have coverage. Like, I don't want my belly out. So like for church, I wore a jacket over this. It was also colder then, but you can also just, wear something high-waisted and pull it up a little bit, or put it over a dress, which is one of my favorites, or a long shirt like I did last week with that other faux set. So you'll have to let me know what you think of the background and maybe if I should move the plant. I feel like I need like a big plant right here. That'd be cool. Okay, progress and shop news. How's about my tree? Isn't it so great? I love it. It just fills me with joy. It's lit up. I don't think you can really see it right now because there's some good lighting in here with this window, but these handmade ornaments have been so much fun to make. I hope you are enjoying yours as much as I have enjoyed mine. So I have to show you the last two. The second to last ornament, which we finished up on Christmas Eve day, is a fish. And you could have hung your fish like this, but I like the idea of him being caught. Anyway, so this clownfish, you can hang him like he's swimming or like he's been strung up. I just thought he was really cute. I really wanted to do a fish, and I just liked the clownfish colors because with a fish you could go any color you wanted, but it's a lot of, I got yellow and green and pink and blue and purple, but I didn't really have any orange yet, so that's why we went with clownfish. We're gonna we'll string him up right there on the tree. It's not weird, right? Not at all. So the last ornament is a tiny sweater. I'm gonna be putting some pictures up of all of the tiny sweaters that I knit. This first one that I show you here, this is the color that was in your advent calendar. And these other sweaters are made with the scraps from these other ornaments. And I got like 9 sweaters, maybe 10, and I gave them all away as Christmas presents to my friends who are not knitters. And so they think that a tiny sweater is just knitting wizardry. They don't get it at all. And so when my friend, I gave it like them in a gift bag of, you know, like cookies and a card and things like that. And I put it in there. And so some of them were texting me. They're like, oh my gosh, I love the tiny sweater. And I was like, I hope it fits. Hardy har. But anyway, the tiny sweater is the kind of thing you can make 100 of and you can give them away. I had so much fun making them, and you can see all of the really, really cool combinations. The only one I didn't give away is this one that I steeked, and I bought buttons for it, but I really need bigger ones. Like this is like a 1/4-inch button maybe. I bought doll size buttons. So this is also scraps. This is, I think it's the bee and the bunny sweater, those scraps. So that was fun. Steeking it was really fun. It's a good way to practice the steeking technique without ruining something gigantic that took you a really long time. Oh, I love it so much. I am leaving my Christmas decorations in my house up as long as I can. I will get to a point where I have to put them away, but as long as I can leave them up, I will. And I don't know. I just love this tree so much. It fills me with joy. We'll see how long it stays. And it'll be back next year, just like the nativity comes back every year. Also, a lovely knitter named Nadine knit me. So this is partially knit and partially needle felted. So the snowman is needle felted and he has a little hat on and he is wearing a knit scarf and he's also knitting it. See how he's got the knitting needles? Isn't that so cute? Thank you so much, Nadine, for sending that to me. Nadine lives in Canada and where am I gonna put this? How about here? She must live close to the border because she drives to the US to mail US packages. So thank you so much, Nadine. I loved that. That was just great. Okay. Some things that are going to be coming up in the shop. If you want to stay on top of what's happening in the shop, you need to subscribe to the newsletter. You have to allow pop-ups because that's the way that the newsletter is signed up for. You go to the website and a pop-up comes up and there's a little hang down where you can click to sign up for the newsletter if you've already closed the pop-up, but you still want to sign up. So you might have to allow them if you have them disallowed, and then you can always re-enable your pop-up blocker. But sign up for the newsletter. Those go out theoretically every Friday. So sometimes they go out. I really took off December because I just needed a break and it was great. I really got one. But there are really fun things coming that I'm very excited about. I have 3 new permanent colorways coming to the shop. I'm going to introduce them one at a time, and it's going to be awesome. On that topic, I got an email from Tina. Hi, Tina. Tina said, please spotlight your Black Forest colorway. I love it on the shop website, but I'm not sure how it looks when it's paired with the other colorways. I made several gift knits this Christmas and was invariably asked where the yarn came from. I'm singing your praises here in St. Louis. Thank you so much, Tina. That was so nice. So I thought I would show you a couple things that I have made with the Black Forest cake, one of which is the allotrope hat. If you've been around here for a long time, you know that this was a kit that I had in my shop last Christmas? I think it was, because these are great gift knits. The allotrope hat is knit using super bulky yarn. And if you want to make it, you can go pick up the pattern and use any yarn you want. If you want to use Knitty McPurly yarn, if you order 3 skeins, you can make 2 hats. So, but here is the Black Forest color, Black Forest cake with Roxette and Fantine. And I love the brightness with the kind of, it's almost like an army green, but it's tonal. They're all tonal. Oh, love tonal yarn. So great. The other thing I want to show you, don't ask me when the pattern is coming because I don't know if that's going to happen. But you might remember, I'm just pulling this out of the bag. This is in my Made by Ray bag that I got at the retreat. And this is the sweater that I've been working on. So this is a dream team of colors, in my humble opinion. We've got the Black Forest Cake, which is the dark green. Fantine is the hot pink. Trinket is the yellow. This color is the Morel and Bosc. I will put a list of these colors below so that you can see, you know, if you go, wait a minute, I want to remember what those colors are. I'll put them in a list down below. Now, I love this sweater. It's a little wrinkled because it's been stuffed in a bag for 6 months. But the trouble with it is that you have to hold 4 strands of yarn at one time. I did a couple episodes where I talked about that, and we talked about all different ways of organizing the yarn. But I feel like if I write a pattern with the requirement that you have to hold 4 strands of yarn together, it is a prescription for frustration. It's a good skill, makes you feel like a rock star, but it's always difficult. Even if you get good at it, it's still difficult. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where I am with that sweater, but anyway, Black Forest Cake. So this is my pick of the dream team. Black Forest Cake, Bosc, Fantine, which just those 3 together look amazing. This would make a great faux set. All right, I don't know if I can hold this many at one time. Trinket and Morel. Where's Morel? That's Bougie. Did I forget Morel? Oh, I forgot Morel, but I bought Bougie, and that one's sort of similar. It's a little paler and less moody. But that's my pick. Like, that's my dream team pick. These 4 plus Morel. But it looks good with, I didn't have a full skein of this, of the Fathom. Ooh, that's maybe too dark. That's too dark. Let's try nice. Ooh, how about this? Ooh, I like that. This is Pewter, Beryl, and Black Forest Cake. Black Forest Cake is a deep dark. It's green. It's a tonal green with a little bit of brown. It's kind of swampy. It's beautiful. I love this color. So, you know, we've talked about this before. These are your darks, right? We've got Poirot, Black Forest Cake, and Fathom. Most of them I'd say are in the middle range. Most of the other colors, Fantine, Bosc, Beryl, Meadow. Meadow looks good with Black Forest Cake too. Ooh, yeah. How about, oh, look at that. You got a dark, a medium, and a light. Whenever you are putting 3 colors together, it's hard to go wrong with a dark, a medium, and a light. And if you're not sure, take a black and white picture, and one of them should look black, one of them should look white, and one of them should look gray. Or, you know, ish, right? So let's see. We've got Thistle, Dusty. Even that's awesome. Black Forest Cake, Thistle, and Dusty. How about Black Forest Cake, Dusty, and Roxette? So I designed these colors to look good together and to pair well together. I think they do. It's hard to find a combination where you're like, no, that doesn't work. So hopefully the 3 that are coming will fit into our Knitty McPurly family just beautifully. All right. One other thing that I have to say about the color of the month. So last month in December, instead of doing my regular color of the month where you can get it in Frankfurt Fingering or Dubrovnik DK, instead of doing that, I just did a sock set. I also did a finite number of them. And both of those things I loved because my original idea for the color of the month was that I would have it available all month long, even if it was the last day of the month. But what ended up happening was I'd have too much left over. Like the month would be over and I'd have too much left over. and people would have moved on to the next color of the month. So I've decided that I'm going to keep the Frankfurt fingering and the Dubrovnik DK and add a sock set. Let's do all three of those things, but I'm going to have them in limited quantities. So that's my plan going forward right now. I think January will be coming later this week, and that gives you something to look forward to. So this Friday's newsletter will be great. It's going to have some good stuff in it, so keep an eye out for that. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, I forgot to show this. Barb and Erin and Amy of Woolen Works Designs, who I got this beautiful bag from, sent me a mug. Oregon. Isn't that great? So let me get the box because it talks about it on here. This is from Pendleton Wool. And it says, since the early 1900s, Pendleton has honored America's national parks with a collection of distinctive park blankets. Treasured for generations, these blankets have become a part of the national park experience for many visitors. Keep that experience with you wherever you go with a Pendleton ceramic coffee mug in the classic park blanket design. So this is Pendleton Woolen Mills is in Portland, Oregon. So this is my Oregon mug. And this is the Crater Lake Park blanket. And it says established 1902, but I just think it's gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. I love those colors. I haven't seen any of the other ones. I don't know what they look like, but this one is great. Thank you so much, ladies. I love it. I've got a lot of Pacific Northwest people. I've got a lot of people out in the West. Okay. Anyway, I have decided to do a change to my test knitting process. And I wanted to let you know because I used to have on my website a sign up. If you wanted to be on the list to be a test knitter, you could send me your information and I put you on a spreadsheet. And I ended up with about 250 people who had volunteered saying, I'd love to test knit. And so what would happen is I would send out an email to all these people and say, this test knit is coming up. Do you want to participate? And I pretty much took everyone. And I would end up with, probably between 30 and 50 test knitters. I didn't want to leave anyone out. I didn't want it to feel exclusive. And as a result, it ended up being kind of cumbersome. And it was a lot of messaging. It was a lot of email. And 99% of the people who sign up to TestKnit are diligent and well-intentioned and kind and generous and just wonderful, salt of the earth human beings. Just like any group of people, right? 99% of them are good. But there's always that 1%. It would be that person who had never tested it for me before, and they would make my life really difficult during the test. I hate to complain because, like I said, it was a very small portion of the group, but invariably there would be one. And as a result, I was to the point where I was like, I don't even want to design sweaters anymore. The test knit had become such a cumbersome and disheartening part of the process. And I thought, there has to be a better way. Like, I'm doing it in a similar way to the way a lot of people do it. But I thought, if it's not working for me, why don't I just do it differently? So the reason for the test knit, its purpose is to test the directions. It is not to knit it in every size. A lot of people think it's to knit it in every size, and it's really not. The tech editor checks the math. If the directions work, then and the math works. So the tech editor checks the math. The test knitters are just testing the directions. So I don't need a lot of people to do that. So what I've decided is to handpick a very, very small group of people and to provide them with yarn to test knit for me. So I kind of wish I hadn't said that because it's not an application process. I don't want people to apply. I know enough people that I can ask. People who I know have the time and the interest and the attention to detail, and it will be very doable for me. So then I thought, wouldn't it be fun if after the test knitting process is over? Because the thing about a test knit is you're going to find mistakes, and people found it annoying to find mistakes. But that's what the test knit is for. So some people were like, well, that's what it's for. We totally understand. But other people would get angry. And so I thought it would be better to work those kinks out with a very small group and then do like a preview knit where before the pattern is available to everyone, to do a preview knit. So that is what I'm going to be doing with my spring sweater that will be available for preview knit probably in March at some point, mid to late March. So that's a lot of words. And I don't know, this is just what's going on in my mind. And I want you to know, because if you signed up to be a test knitter and then I didn't email you, I didn't want you to feel like I was excluding you on purpose. I've excluded everyone. I have equal opportunity excluded. So I hope no one feels bad, and I don't want it to be weird. And I want to do the preview knit because it will be fun. And that way, when the pattern shows up on Ravelry, there's lots of things that knitters can look at. They can see all the different yarn that people used and all of the different possibilities. So what do you think? Weigh in if you want to. I wrote a lot about that. So the next sweater, the spring sweater, is going to be a duster. Remember I talked about dusters last week. And this was when I shut my brain down and I opened it up again, the flowers just bloomed, and I am so excited about this. It's gonna be top down, knit all in one piece, not a raglan. I'm using a lot of the information that I learned from Barbara Walker's book. Hi, Barbara. I hope Barbara's like a regular watcher now. That would be amazing. Oh, that's funny. So, mid to late March is when you can expect to see more about that and hear about the preview knit, and you can join in if you want. Okay, let's talk just for a second about New Year's resolutions. I am not really a New Year's resolution person because I think you shouldn't wait to do something good. You should be always trying to be better. And so for me, my New Year's resolutions are more a product of my shutting my brain down and then letting it reboot. It's more about that and giving myself a little time to get things organized. Gosh, if you do that, your life will be so much better. I don't know about you. Some people can keep their lives organized. I'm not really like that. Things kind of pile up and then I have to purge them out. I've got to clean up and get all the things organized and cleaned up. And so I did that over the Christmas break and it was wonderful. I want to talk about organization. So my first resolution is I am not going to say anymore that I am bad at email, because that is a cop-out. It's a cop-out. If you say I'm just bad at this, what you're really saying is I'm lazy and disorganized. It's a cop-out to say that you're just not good at something. You're just lazy and disorganized. And that's exactly what I was. Part of the email inbox cleanup and organizing, part of that, it was part of the test knit thing where it just would build up and be this huge thing. And by the time I was able to clear it out, it was like, whew, I can breathe again. So I would like for when you send me an email to get a quick response. Quick, that day, the next day at the latest. There's no excuse for not keeping up with your email. I said it. So that's my first resolution. Second resolution is about needle organization. I have gotten a lot done on this front, but this podcast had so much awesome stuff in it already that I was like, it's got to wait till next week. So next week, we're going to talk about organizing your knitting needles. And I would love if you organize your needles in a way that is awesome. send me a picture, please, and a description if you want, but just send it to me, email it to me, Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com, DEVIN. So I would love to share it on the podcast. If you're like hilarious, if you're hilariously disorganized, feel free to send that too. Like if I showed you a picture of how I organize embroidery floss, I think I have shown it before. I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be organized, right? And everybody was like, yep, that's how mine looks. It's just a tangled mess of garbage. And that's how my knitting needles looked. I'll talk about it next week. There's a lot to say about organizing knitting needles because it just grows and grows and grows. And you're like, what will I do with it? So next week. Okay. Hi, Gigi.
We're back!
Yay!
With a new setup.
Yeah, what do you think? Although this is going in the middle of the podcast, so they've already seen the setup.
Well,
it's old news now.
We got a new mirror.
What do you think?
Beautiful.
I got rid of that really ugly one that
really
is a part
ugly.
of the thing. You know, it's a process.
All
but
right.
Anyway, let's hear about your sweater, Gigi.
Hold this.
Oh my gosh.
Here's where I am. They're starting, I think I might need a bigger needle. Is this the biggest one I'm going to use? Because I'm starting to...
I think it's okay for now, but yeah, no, we can
Right.
get the needle bigger. What size are we doing? Is this a 3, I think?
Yeah.
I got that
3.
in so many cable lengths.
By the way, I'm going to need fewer stripes until I start making the, Oh, I had a full-on stroke right there. Just like... Woo.
Okay.
So I did 11 stitch before I do the sleeves. That's the word.
That's
so
the word.
I did 11
Sleeves.
stitches in each 11 stitches per stripe.
11 rows per stripe. I will just cover all of your mistakes. It's just fine. It's gonna be okay.
This is that kind of day. Oh man.
So the
11 rows per stripe instead of 10.
The pattern is written to have 10 row stripes. Did I say it right? Yeah, 10 row
You
stripes.
did.
And she just did 11, and that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Because I forgot to count the one on the needle.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Don't forget about that. Yes, that one definitely does count. It looks so good.
It's so pretty. You doubted my colors. I know you did.
I did, and they look amazing.
They really do.
It's subtle bumblebee. That's what it is.
It is. It's a bumblebee. It's black and yellow. It's just like...
What? Did it move?
No. All right.
I will.
Yeah, it's very subtle bumblebee vibes.
I love it. It's so good.
I haven't been working on my blanket as much.
You can only do so many things.
I can only do so many things, but it is fun to go back from teeny yarn to gigantic yarn to teeny yarn.
Yes, I like the back and forth that too because they're both fun.
Yeah.
But having both is really nice. Arkansas.
This is the best mug. Whoever sent this one, it holds
Tara.
so much.
Thanks, Tara. Hi, Tara.
And it doesn't like spill.
It's got a big fat
mug.
bottom. Fat bottom mugs. It's the best kind.
Best kind of mug.
So Gigi asked me, she's like, Mom, like, when do I divide for the sleeves? Like, surely.
It has to be
divided
soon.
Right? And if this were a normal sweater, it probably wouldn't be too far. You'd be maybe another inch.
No.
But the Vesper sweater, you increase and increase and increase and increase. And it looks like this giant poncho. And you think, how will this ever be flattering? But then it comes in at the waist and it comes in at the sleeves and it just looks awesome.
Great.
The Vesper pattern is a free pattern in case you didn't know.
Oh, so if you're not making one, it's on you, man. I mean, this is...
Why not?
Why not?
Go make one. The yarn still isn't free. Yarn still costs money.
Well, I mean, you can't get it all.
You can't give everything away for free.
No.
But thank you so much for coming, Gigi.
You're welcome. I don't want to throw this at you because I might lose stitches.
Yeah, don't throw that at me. I could get like a needle in my eyeball. Oh my gosh. Did you think about throwing it at me?
I mean, it's only sharp on this side. I can kind of go like, wee.
Oh, I thought they came off.
No, it's okay. We're all good.
People were going to be disappointed if you didn't come on.
I know.
Sometimes I think people just watch for your segment.
What can you do?
What can you do?
I mean, you know, I feel like I'd be that person who's like, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Where is she? Come on. Oh, yay, finally.
Oh, Gigi. All right, Gigi.
All right.
Beat it, sister.
Beat it.
Oh. Moving on to the topic of the week. This week, I'm going to show you how to knit a tiny heart. This tiny heart pattern, ouch, sorry. This tiny heart pattern is free on the internet. It's called Sweetie Knit Heart, and it is by Knitting with Heart, Jackie Lowen, copyright 2012. This pattern is knitting magic. So I'm going to show you how to knit it right now, and I'll link it below so you can go download it if you want. So this little heart pattern is only 3 rows. It is knitting magic. Isn't this yarn pretty? I got this from Machete Shop a couple years ago. So we're gonna start by, I'm just using 2 double pointed needles, but you can use whatever needles you want. I have DK weight yarn and a US 6 needle, but whatever. I don't even think it has a needle. Oh yeah, US 6. Never mind. Maybe I did that subconsciously. I don't know. Okay, so you cast on 15 stitches, and then you're going to knit 1, purl 5, okay, and then we're going to do a slipped double purl decrease. Now there's more than one way to do this. When I looked it up on the internet, I found actually a couple of different suggestions, but this is the way that she suggested in the pattern. Slip 2 stitches separately knitwise, like that, okay? Then you're gonna go into the left, with the left needle, from right to left, into those 2 stitches again. Oh, it's a little fiddly, okay? And you put them back on that needle. So basically you've just kind of swizzled them around a bit, all right? Now, we're going to keep, because we're purling, we're going to keep our yarn to the front. I'm going to go into this one. Is that right? Yeah. Going to go into that next one and purl 3 together. And that is a very tidy little double decrease. And then we purl 5. The directions are all in the pattern. I'll link it below. Like I said, it is a free pattern. One, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I miscounted. I see. Purl 5 and then knit 1. So that's the first row. Okay. Now, row 2 is the boring row. We're going to purl 2. It's magic. It really is. Purl 2, and then we knit 9. 1, 2, 9, and then we purl 2. Now, what we have done here with our double decrease is made the point. You know, it's funny, I did the double decrease differently with another one, and I feel like the point was a little pointier. I don't know. The jury's still out. Okay, now row 3, this is the last row. Are you ready for this? Oops, we're gonna slip 1, knitwise, okay? Slip, slip, knit twice. Slip, knit, slip, slip, knit. Now we're going to do a different double decrease. This one is a little bit simpler. We're going to slip 2 stitches knitwise together, like that. Knit the next stitch, pass the 2 slip stitches over. And something more similar to that is what I had seen for the purl decrease, but whatever. Now we're going to knit 2 together twice. And then we're going to slip 1 purlwise. Okay, that's the end. So watch. Take my scissors, and I'm going to cut just a little bit of a tail. Now, I'm going to thread my tail onto my needle, and I'm going to go into the stitches in the order that I would knit them to pull it through. Like whatever you're going to knit next, if you were continuing to knit, that's the order that you put the stitches through, like that. And that, I believe, is the wrong side.
This is the right side. So with your weaving in, you're going to kind of shape that tiny heart. But isn't that amazing? 3 rows.
All right, the comments section. Rosemary O'Brien said, I live in upstate New York and I am 70 years old. The turtleneck will never be out for me. I wear them under other sweaters and shirts from October through April. Better warm than stylish has always been my motto. Stevens Defense Academy replied to her comment and said, I'm 47 and live in Wisconsin, and I completely agree with you. There were a lot of turtleneck comments, all pro. Lots of you are in favor of turtlenecks. Girlfriend, you do you. If you love the turtleneck, you just wear the heck out of that turtleneck. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. I am not a fan, but that's just me. If you like it, you should wear it, definitely. Christina says, I'm from Massachusetts/New Hampshire, currently in Kentucky, and they have never gone out of style with me. Awesome. Tina says, hi, Devin. Did you know that Meg Swanson, the publisher of Schoolhouse Press, is Elizabeth Zimmerman's daughter? There were also many comments about this. I did know that, but I also forgot it last week when I mentioned it, because I said Meg Swanson and I was thinking, I know who this is. She's somebody, but I forget who she is. And I thought maybe it's just because she's the Schoolhouse Press lady. I don't know. Yes, I did know that. Awesome. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And thank you to all of you who mentioned that. Linda Spencer said, it's always so good to stop by for a cup of tea and to chat with you. What? You don't actually know me and I'm not actually in conversation with you? Huh. Feels like we're old friends who get together weekly to catch up. We totally know each other, Linda. Hi, Linda. How are you? I feel like I know you guys. I don't know why, because I can't see your face, but I still feel like I know you. Carol says, hi, Devin. I have a funny knitting story. I live in my son and daughter-in-law's mother-in-law apartment off their garage. I had a basket of yarn in my house. I worked long hours as a nurse, and sometimes when I came home, my yarn would be in the backyard, just all strewn around. Anyway, one of my kids' dogs, Murphy, was able to figure out how to get the door open. And the other dog, Molly, so they tag teamed it, would take my yarn out in the backyard and just have a wonderful time with it. Even four-legged friends appreciate beautiful yarn. I changed the door from the lever to the round one so they can't play with my yarn balls anymore. Poor dogs. Now all they have to play with are dog toys. You know, the lever versus the round doorknob, that struggle is real. We have the levers now, but back when Gigi was 2, we used to have the round ones. And one time I put her down for a nap and I could hear her on the monitor, but then I didn't hear her anymore. So I assumed she had fallen asleep. And then my husband came home and he said, where's Gigi? And I was like, she's been down for a nap for a really long time. I'm gonna go wake her up. She had gone into her closet. Maybe, I don't know if the door had been left open or if she got it open, but then she pulled it shut and she couldn't open it to get out. So she fell asleep in the closet. Poor Gigi. It was scarring. It was, I think, probably more scarring for me because I just felt so sad that she had locked herself in the closet. She wasn't even locked in. She just couldn't turn the knob. And that would never happen now with the levers. So pros and cons, knob versus lever. All right, Susie D says, yarn stores are businesses. The customers are allowed to knit together in the furniture and space paid for by the store. If you go out and hang out at a coffee shop, you buy drink or food. Same at a yarn store. Thank you so much for this topic. I had a lot of good yarn store comments. Cham says, I love my LYS. She has 2 knitting groups that meet Wednesday and Saturdays. I think it's expected that you are a patron of the store if you want to sit and knit every week. It's not mandatory that the project you're working on during the sit and knit is one you bought there, but you should be buying from her to show up every week and use her space and community. I am so thankful for this group and the space. I support her with my purchases. Yeah, I totally agree with you. If you're going to go, then you need to be a patron of the store. And it doesn't need to be everything. It doesn't need to be all the time. But just like Susie said, you know, if you don't go and sit at a coffee shop with coffee that you made at home, you buy coffee there. That's just what it is. Okay. Nancy Morgan said, scientifically, bees' wings are too small to lift their bodies off the ground, but that does not stop them from taking off. I knew that from the Bee movie, which is hilarious. If you haven't seen the Bee movie, it's very funny. I took it to extremes with these wings. Like, they're just comically ridiculous. There's no way. The bee is so fat and the wings are so tiny. I just, my sense of humor just dug right into that. Sarah says, my tree is covered with the crocheted snowflakes made by my mother. She is no longer living on Earth, but is remembered every day, and especially when her beautiful work is on display. That is awesome. I hope that that's true of my kids when I am no longer on this earth, that they have all these ornaments on their tree and they say, my mom made this way back in 2023. Therese said, I found the nettle dress on Vimeo. Wow. So we have to go check that out. I don't know what Vimeo is, but I will figure it out and I will go look it up. Someone else asked me, can you show your favorite way to carry colors up the round, like in the Vesper sweater, so you don't have a big jog from color switch? All I did in Vesper and in my striped Diggory tee is just carried it. Like it just is a strand that goes, you know, from one color up to the next, and I just keep it tight enough that it's not like making a loop that I'm going to catch on, but not tight so that it causes any puckering. That's all I do. There are jogless stripes and you have to work a little bit of magic to make that happen. I don't care enough to do that. If you care enough, there are videos out there where you can figure out how to do that. But for me, I just knit normal. Okay. I'm skipping knitting fantasies for today because this episode is just chock full of amazing stuff. And the So Here's What Happened is so great. I can find it really quickly because my email box is organized. All right, now this is Karen Davis, okay? She looks beautiful with her brunette hair. You might remember her as a blonde from a story that I read a couple months ago where she knit her first sweater. This story is fabulous. It's a little bit long, but worth it, I promise you. She says, hi, Devin. This is my second time sending you a So Here's What Happened. The first time was February 2023 after I finished my first adult sweater. Now I have several adult sweaters completed, but as this story will show, they are always a learning experience. I know you love people to send videos, but instead I'll include a recent selfie. It alone will show you how bad I am at capturing myself on any form of film, so you definitely would not want to suffer through my version of a self-made video. I think it would be amazing, Karen, and we would love it, but I'm also happy to read it. Okay, she talks about her hair for a little bit. How her husband didn't notice the hair color. Total husband thing. Every time I color my hair, every time, I say, what do you think? How does it look? And everyone in my house says it looks exactly like it did before. I'm like, well, if I didn't do anything, it would look terrible. So, okay. I let my daughter choose a pattern for a sweater, and she chose this free pattern from Premier Yarns called Offset Stripes. So I would be a little freaked out by the fact that it's a free pattern, although it's from a yarn company, so that's in its favor. But the offset stripes, it looks like you're knitting this flat, and I think, I don't remember if it's knit flat or not. It is the first sweater, Karen says, I ever attempted that is pieced and worked from the bottom up. I did not use the suggested yarn. Instead, I used Knit Picks Comfy, which is a cotton acrylic blend. I have worked with Comfy before, and it is very soft, which is nice. It does pill a little bit over time, so there's that, but lots of yarn pills, who cares? My goal was to have it done for Christmas. I was knitting along, doing the different sections, and following the pattern exactly as written. I chose the smallest size because my daughter is very petite and it's an oversized sweater. Problem number 1, I ran out of yarn and had to order more, even though I had carefully figured out the yardage needed and checked my gauge. If I would have known then the mistakes I would later discover in the pattern, I would not have needed that extra yarn after all. But I didn't know what I didn't know, so I ordered more yarn and waited until it came to continue knitting the sweater as my Christmas deadline was getting closer and closer. And one good thing is that Knit Picks Comfy is a good price, and so it's affordable. And you can always make stuff out of that too if you have leftover. Although, it does take time for it to come. Problem number 2, the yarn came. I finished all the pieces of the sweater according to the pattern instructions. Then I tried to fit the pattern together and make it look like a sweater, but something was wrong. I was frantic. The pattern did not include a schematic of any kind. So I shot off an email to Premier asking for help on how to piece the sweater. They responded promptly with a friendly email and included diagrams on how it should all be laid out for piecing. Well, that's great. A prompt, friendly response with details, helpful, awesome. After receiving the schematic, I discovered that the instructions for the left side panels were written wrong, and the places where you widened the strips of stripes for the sleeves were oriented wrong. So I had to take both left side panels, frog apart those sections, and Kitchener them back together to orient the sleeve extensions the correct way. I was quite proud of myself for figuring that out on my own. Self-reliance. When you learn something on your own because you figured it out, you climbed a mountain, girlfriend. So now I proceeded to seam all of my panels, a front and a back, 2 rights and 2 lefts, together according to the schematic and diagram. So it sounds like it was knit entirely flat. Problem number 3, this is what I got. The sweater looks like it is made for a monster instead of being a sweater for a young adult woman. I was discouraged and worried that I was not going to make the Christmas deadline. So I sent off another email to Premier and they responded with the solution. It looked like my side panels have too many stripes and I need to make sure they match the same number of stripes as the front and the back panels. That made sense. But it also frustrated me because I had followed the pattern instructions exactly. Apparently, they had included an extra pattern repeat of 5 whole stripes for those side panels that they should not have included in the pattern for the smallest size. I see. I double and triple checked the pattern to make sure that it was their mistake and not mine. So I had knitted 5 extra stripes on 2 left side panels and 2 right side panels for a total of 20 extra unnecessary stripes. I did email Premier and encourage them to take a look at the pattern so that another knitter does not have to go through what I did in making this sweater. So now I had to take apart all of the seams and frog out sections of each of the left and right panels and Kitchener them all back together. It took hours, but I managed to get it done. I don't care for the way the mattress stitch looked when I pieced it together the first time, so when I did the seams in the sweater the second time, I chose to use a needle and sewing thread, and I like the results much better. Okay. I got it done in time for us to open our gifts to each other today. So she sent this to me on Christmas, and my daughter was very happy with it. And here is the picture of the beautiful daughter in the beautiful sweater. It really turned out great. I love the way it looks. I think it turned out awesome. Even if it's not exactly like the pattern, looks great. Karen said, I couldn't stand wasting all those extra stripes I had knitted, so I grafted them together and made a large hot pad for my kitchen. Awesome. Moral of the story? I'm definitely not in love with bottom-up pieced sweaters after this experience. This was actually a fairly simple design once I understood it, but I trusted the pattern and it really messed me up. So, lesson learned, a good pattern is a valuable thing indeed. I love your podcast and look forward to it every week. I love getting to know your family as they join you on the podcast. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So that was the first email. Okay. Then Karen sent me another email and she says, after my misadventure with the offset stripes pattern, she wrote, I forgot to include the funniest part. So after this adventure with the pattern, I decided that I needed to ceremoniously shred that pattern while uttering, Christian swear words over it as the shredder ripped it to pieces. Now, this is what we needed a video of, Karen. Next time, take a video of this. All knitting ceremonies must be videotaped, okay? You have to make a video of yourself performing any knitting ceremony and send it to me so that we can all enjoy it with you. She says, I'm including photos of the shredding process, which great, there are photos, that's awesome. I really wanted to see Karen uttering these swear words. I'm including photos of the shredding process and a photo of my favorite list of Christian swear words by Christian comedian Tim Hawkins. Check him out on YouTube. He is so funny. Now, I am not familiar with Tim Hawkins, but I am going to read you this entire list right now. So how will I get this to you? I don't know. I'll link it somehow so that you can have this list of words because it is amazing. It goes from the mildest to the harshest. Are you ready? Shucks, rats, gosh, shizzle, toot, crapola, turd, sheesh, flippin', phooey, ticked, heck, shoot, jeepers, geez, crud, dag, dang, darn, darn it, bleep, booger, snot, wingnut. I can't read that one. Criminy, cripes, doo-doo, caca, good gravy, good grief is one of my favorites. Gadzooks, jackwagon, bull snot, fiddle faddle, fiddlesticks, crud muffin, cotton pickin', malarkey, mylanta, what the hey, buckethead, shucky darn, dad, burn it, dad, nag it, cow, sarn it, confound it, doggone it, dad, blame it, dad, gum it, dad, blast it, son of a biscuit eater, son of a Baptist preacher, son of a bacon bit, son of a nutcracker, son of a motherless goat. That one's my favorite, son of a motherless goat. Great googly moogly, great Caesar's ghost, geez Louise, mother, Francis, Judas, priest, shut your pie hole, kiss my grits, heavens to Betsy, Bolshevik, what the devil, razza, frazza, jumpin' Jehoshaphat, booger snot, fart knocker, mother of pearl, bull twinkies, gee willikers, H-E, double hockey sticks, farfignugan, shut the front door, suck eggs, horse hockey, horse pucky, horse feathers, horse patootie, for the love of Pete, for crying out loud, Bob Saget, Pat Sajak, Alex Trebek. Oh, that is awesome. Son of a motherless goat is my new favorite. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that 2023 was a great year for you. I hope that 2024 is even better. I have put together a wee little thingamajig for you to look at that is kind of my own little partially personal, partially knitting year in review. So here it is. I will see you guys next week. Bye.